Did you know that half of the world's most exquisite tiaras officially don't exist? Welcome to the closed world where jewelry worth billions of dollars hides in private vaults, and their owners will do anything to conceal the truth about their origins. Today you'll witness a unique investigation, a top 10 ranking of the most magnificent tiaras, compiled not by art historians, but by detectives from the jewelry world. Each position on this list is a symphony of beauty and corruption, where the fates of emperors and revolutionaries, spies and aristocrats intertwine. Jewelry professionals will reveal for the first time how these legendary collections were formed and why their true history is a state secret. Prepare to learn the truth that will change your view of royal luxury. In 10th place of our ranking sits the Danish ruby tiara, a piece that modern Danish princesses wear with pride, but whose origin story the royal house prefers to keep quiet. This magnificent crown of rubies and diamonds came to Denmark not as the result of noble trade or a diplomatic gift, but as payment for betrayal. In 80, Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte devised a brilliant scheme to buy the loyalty of his marshals. He allocated enormous sums for purchasing jewels that military commanders were to buy for their wives for the coronation. Jean-Baptiste Bernadotte, the future king of Sweden, Charles XIV John, received such a gift for his wife Desiree Clary. But when Bernadotte betrayed Napoleon and switched to the Allies' side, the ruby tiara became a symbol of double deep. French money had bought betrayal of the French emperor. 9th place goes to the Norwegian pearl tiara of Queen Maud, a work of art shrouded in the mystery of missing stones. According to sources close to the Norwegian royal house, the tiara originally contained significantly more pearls than can now be seen at official ceremonies. A renowned expert who worked with royal collections claims, on condition of anonymity, that during World War II, when the royal family fled to London, part of the stones was temporarily removed to finance the resistance. However, after the war, the complete set of pearls was never restored. Official representatives of the Norwegian court categorically refused to comment on the number and origin of stones in their historical collections. Why do Scandinavian palaces display such mysterious secrecy when it comes to the complete sets of their tiaras? The answer lies in uncomfortable historical facts. Over the past 5 years, Denmark, Norway, and Sweden have simultaneously stopped providing detailed information about their royal collections to international jewelry experts. Moreover, researchers' attempts to access archival descriptions of tiaras encounter bureaucratic obstacles and references to security considerations, but history holds more secrets than meets the eye. One jeweler who worked on restoring northern royal jewelry shared shocking information. Northern crowns hold more secrets than one can imagine. What the public sees at ceremonies is just the tip of the iceberg. In closed storage facilities, there are elements that never leave the palace walls. However, even greater mysteries are hidden in continental European palaces, where family intrigues around precious stones turn into real detective stories. 8th place in our ranking goes to the Luxembourg Imperial Tiara, a diamond monument, behind which hides one of the most sophisticated family scams in European aristocracy history. When Grand Duchess Charlotte married Prince Felix of Bourbon-Parma in 19, jewels from 2 different parts of the family were used to create her crown. According to sources familiar with the situation, the Grand Duchess simply appropriated her relatives' family stones and melted them into one piece, effectively depriving other family branches of their inheritance. Remarkably, no documents about the tiara's origin before 1919 exist. All records disappeared from archives under mysterious circumstances. 7th place goes to the Dutch massive sapphire tiara, a piece that has undergone such radical changes throughout its history that modern experts doubt its authenticity. When Queen Maxima first wore this crown at King Willem Alexander's inauguration in 2013, careful observers noticed that the tiara's central element had been substantially altered compared to how previous Queen Beatrix wore it. Moreover, Maxima wore the crown completely differently, turning it backward, which allowed her to hide the altered elements. Anonymous sources in the Dutch palace claim that the restoration was conducted not to preserve the historical appearance, but to conceal removed stones. An expert on antique jewelry, who agreed to comment on condition of anonymity, revealed the shocking truth about how European palaces use restoration to legalize stone theft. When a tiara goes for restoration, it's taken apart. Some stones are accidentally damaged and replaced with less valuable ones. The originals disappear into private collections, while the public is shown the restored piece. Proving substitution is virtually impossible. Who will compare every stone with century-old archival descriptions? But why did European palaces suddenly and simultaneously refuse public evaluations of their collections? Over the past 3 years, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Belgium, and Liechtenstein have stopped cooperating with international expert commissions that conducted insurance evaluations of royal jewels. Officially, this is explained by new security standards, but sources in the jewelry world speak of something else. Palaces fear that independent expertise will reveal discrepancies between archival descriptions and the actual state of collections. However, continental Europe is just a warm-up before what happens in Eastern kingdoms, where mystical traditions mix with modern financial schemes. In sixth place of our ranking shines the legendary Japanese Mikimoto Phoenix Tiara, created by the company led by pearl magnate Kokichi Miki. This luxurious crown of pearls and diamonds adorned Miss Universe winners from 2000 to 2007, causing public admiration. However, few know that behind the brilliance and grace lies an intense struggle with organizers and sponsors seeking to control not only the crown, but also the fates of its holders. According to information from insiders, there's strict control behind the scenes over who can wear the tiara and under what conditions. The slightest violation of the rules threatens loss of title and access to exclusive circles of collectors and patrons. Fifth place goes to the Portland Sapphire Tiara, adorned with large Burmese sapphires intertwined with diamonds and natural pearls. Its uniqueness lies not only in magnificence and history. This piece became a victim of what's called a composite in the world of family heritage. According to an informed expert, it has become normal to dismantle antique tiaras into separate elements so components can serve as the basis for new, more modern, and sought-after pieces. Elements of the Portland tiara have reportedly been repeatedly sorted and modified over recent decades, losing some of their original brilliance and integrity. An insider close to the jewelry restoration industry revealed that such processes are not only a tribute to fashion, but also a way to avoid legal complications. If a piece is broken apart, it becomes less accountable as a single object, making it easier to sell in parts through closed auctions for elite collectors. At these closed events, you can find fragments of tiaras that have long disappeared from public view. Lost precious elements return to the market, but in completely different form, and their history leaves more questions than answers. However, Eastern luxury and craftsmanship remain unattainable for the general public, while the Western world increasingly uses schemes involving fragmentation of historical collections, a manipulation that sheds light on another side of the precious stones world. But the story doesn't end there. Echoes of British royal intrigues and scandals are already approaching. Fourth place goes to the Baltimore Tiara, connected with Princess Margaret, sister of Queen Elizabeth II. This piece appears at first glance to be an ordinary diamond circlet, but according to information from a former palace employee, the deal to acquire this tiara was far from transparent. It was presented as a charitable gift. However, part of the funds was allegedly obtained through a scheme concealing its real price and origin. This move allowed maintaining loyalty of certain palace circles and avoiding scandals, hiding the true motives of the deal. Third place proudly goes to the French Fife Tiara, adorned with diamonds and pear-shaped stones. This tiara appeared in royal collections as a war trophy, obtained during those bloody wars that forever changed the European map and the fates of ruling houses. However, official history carefully masks its true origin, building around it a legend of family heritage that, according to insiders, is far from reality. A former valet of the British court who worked with jewelry collections for more than 30 years told that in storage facilities lie tiaras that the public doesn't even suspect exist. Some of them will appear in official lists only decades later, when the dust settles and they no longer interest the general public. Moreover, why all purchases of tiaras by the British Crown often happen through frontmen remains a mystery that puzzles even royal jewelers. While the palace keeps silent, behind its walls unfold stories worthy of the best spy novels. Meanwhile, our story continues ahead. Await the loudest and most sensational discoveries in the world of the planets. Greatest tiaras. In second place of our ranking sits the Vladimir Tiara, a true masterpiece of Russian jewelry art, consisting of 15 interwoven rings decorated with diamonds and pearls. This tiara was not just an ornament, but a symbol of power and history of the Russian Empire. Having survived troubled times and revolutionary upheaval, in 1917, during the darkest period of the Russian state, a secret British intelligence operation managed to smuggle this treasure from revolutionary Petrograd along with other valuables disguised as ordinary diplomatic correspondence. However, the modern history turned into a real scandal. Queen Elizabeth II categorically refused to return the Vladimir Tiara to the Romanov descendants, causing a closed diplomatic crisis. According to an expert familiar with the situation on condition of anonymity, the Vladimir tiara is just the tip of the iceberg, and in the basements of British palaces are stored many other Russian relics about which the public knows nothing. In the 90s, strictly secret negotiations were conducted between British and Russian governments, during which the Kremlin offered multi-million sums or serious political concessions in exchange for returning historical jewels. But agreement was never reached. This is one of the most emotional stories of our ranking, a plot where political intrigues, rulers, fates, and the eternal struggle for cultural heritage intertwine. But even this dramatic case pales before what we discovered about first place on our list, a tiara that became the symbol of an entire empire's hypocrisy. First place goes to the famous girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, which became a symbol of an entire era. But beneath the diamond brilliance hides one of the most cynical scams in royal jewelry history. This piece was gifted to future Queen Mary in 1893 by a committee of girls from Great Britain and Ireland, who collected £5,000 for it, a fabulous sum for those times, equal to several million in today's money. Ordinary people throughout the empire donated their modest savings, believing they were creating a gift for the entire nation. However, insiders who agreed to speak claimed that behind the charitable facade hides a completely different truth. This money, collected from simple workers and employees, effectively became the foundation of royal wealth and turned into a symbol of elite hypocrisy. According to sources close to palace circles, the tiara gradually and unnoticeably became private property of the royal family, and its rare public appearances are carefully staged events maintaining a beautiful myth about nobility and ancient traditions. This brilliant symbol of wealth actually embodies class divide and social inequality, turning the tiara into a kind of political statement, artfully hidden under layers of diamonds and pearls. Anonymous sources report that in royal storage facilities lie other people's gifts that either disappear without trace or are secretly sold through closed auctions for select collectors. Questions related to this tiara's origin, as well as royal ownership of jewels in general, remain unanswered, shrouded in state secrecy. How amazingly magnificence and darkness combined in these legendary tiaras. Each is an undisputed masterpiece of jewelry art. But behind every sparkling stone hides a secret, often covered by palace silence and political intrigues. Can one truly admire such exquisite beauty, knowing the truth about the scandals, betrayals, and social injustice behind it? This rhetorical question has no simple answer, but makes each of us think about the price of luxury. We urge you not to remain indifferent spectators, but to demand complete transparency and honesty from power structures regarding these treasures' origins. Remember, sometimes the most striking beauty is born precisely from those secrets carefully hidden from us. What do you think? Write your versions and assumptions in the comments. Perhaps together we can shed light on even more mysteries in the world of royal jewels, and who knows, perhaps the planet's most magnificent tiaras are still safely hidden in private bank vaults, where only a handful of chosen ones can touch their incredible grandeur. History continues, and each day may bring new sensational discoveries in this mysterious world of power, beauty, and secrets.